In order to effectively democratize data, we need to have that data neatly packaged and ready to order. The data marketplace in the cloud provides the perfect interface to do this, but we need to consider the order in which we do things to ensure the best possible end user experience. When we first enable the marketplace app, we're not going to immediately add in all the end users, as there'll be nothing to shop for and no infrastructure around the shopping experience. We should, however, add the administrators in charge of running Marketplace. It may be worth considering different areas of authority that need coverage, such as a business minded admin, a data governance lead, and an operational engineer for more technical decisions. Once we have our admins set up with the permissions they need, they can begin to bring in the framework for data ordering. The business representative would determine the broad data categories in which different data collections will be grouped. For example, sales data may be a useful grouping for a line of business user. Typically, it is best to keep these simple and as mutually exclusive as possible, aligned to the day-to-day running of your company. The data governance admin could then be called in to reflect on the terms of use that can be related to different data collections. At a minimum, they must always create a default terms of use, which will apply to all data collections, reminding employees of their responsibility to the firm and general data sharing policies. Beyond this, it may be wise to create terms of use relating to the sensitivity of the data. For instance, some data is publicly available, and this should be marked as a permissive term of use, encouraging easy access. This process can be repeated as many times as is necessary to represent all sorts of constrained, neutral, and permissive terms. As we see here, there may be constraints that relate to PII data, which can be circumvented by permissive terms confirming the data collection's readiness for use. The final part of the foundational content that needs adding by an administrator is the setting up of different delivery templates by the data delivery admin. First, they can add the acceptable delivery formats. For example, data could be delivered as XML, a Tableau report, a CSV file, or JSON. Then they should consider the method of delivery, where the data will be made available via options like FTP, HTTPS, a web link, or via SQL. They will then be able to define the specific delivery templates available and connect these to available formats and methods of delivery. For instance, Snowflake data can be delivered as JSON via SQL. This process should be continued until all the preferred delivery options are listed, including a default option. Later, technical data owners will use these as the basis for their data delivery planning. Now all of the core foundational content has been added, and that's important to complete before involving data owners. But you could also at this point choose to begin adding content in the way of data assets, so that when your data producers come in, they can immediately start building their collections. Downloading the template and accompanying guide is easy from directly within the tool, and the guide will help you to fill this out with the correct information. You'll notice that the data assets we're adding come from a variety of different sources. Cloud Data Marketplace is your one-stop shop for data, no matter the source. There's also in-tool validation that makes review simple and easy. In this example, I've put in an error on purpose so that you can see that one record has an unacceptable value for the status. I can easily update this with the drop-down and import the data asset. This now means there's a starting set of data for the data owners to build into their collections, though of course this will continue to develop over time. The next step is to add those owners, which will be done via the admin panel, just like when we added the administrators. So let's skip forward past that onto their role in populating the marketplace. I'm now logging in as Chloe, a data owner for the company, who will take the next steps of populating the marketplace and getting ready for launch. As a known data owner, Chloe has been assigned data collections to curate. In order to do this, she can click into this one and begin. To get ready for launch, it is critical that data collections are well thought out and will be useful to consumers. This one is designed for those conducting analytics around customer satisfaction, so Chloe names and describes it appropriately. The data owner for the technical side can also be added at this point, as they will be the one responsible for provisioning the data. Chloe adds hers. Data assets can then be added to the collection. As this data collection relates to customer satisfaction, it draws on a number of data sets and tables that will be useful to the analysts. Chloe adds customer complaint records, returns data, customer order history, and customer profile data to the collection. She can then scroll down to ensure that all the relevant data elements have been brought in. This is a well-organized data collection with overlapping IDs that will allow the data to be combined as necessary to create insights. The step of adding delivery methods could also be taken by John, the technical owner, but as Chloe has already discussed this with him, she can add these as well. John is happy to deliver this collection either via AWS S3 bucket or Snowflake, though Snowflake will be his default option. It is also critical that in this preparation for launch, the right terms of use are linked to the data collection. This data contains personally identifiable information, so must be marked as such. Luckily, Chloe has ensured that it is anonymized and therefore ready for the analyst to use regardless. There are currently no listed consumers as the Cloud Data Marketplace has not been in use yet, but if Chloe knows of any pre-existing consumers of her collection, she can share this information with her administrator to have it backloaded. Once consumer access has been imported, it will be visible from the browse view as well as detailed within the data collection itself. There are many advantages to backloading consumer access. For one thing, it allows data owners to track who actually has access to their data, not just who has been granted access recently since the launch of the marketplace. Furthermore, other data consumers will build communities based on who is using what data. Who better to ask a question about a data collection you like the look of than a fellow analyst already using it? At this point, there is nothing left to do but introduce the marketplace to your consumers. I'm logging on now as Ian Jenkins, a consumer to the marketplace who's just gotten around to logging on a couple of days after launch. Immediately, he can see the categories, collections, orders in process, and data accesses granted. Rather than turning up to an empty shop, he has everything he needs to get browsing, searching, and shopping for data. What's more, the experience is intuitive without training requirements. Clicking into a category gives him relevant customer data collections. Clicking into a data collection shows him all he could need about the data sets within it and the data elements within those. And when he's ready to shop, he can simply follow the guided checkout wizard through to completion. Thanks to your preparations, consumers will be able to hit the ground running as the content is easy to locate, understand, and request access to. And the admins and data owners will be there to keep the show running, responding to these incoming requests and orders. Thank you very much for listening.